Hey there! In this video, we're going to be looking at how we can automatically take our logged contact, including our notes, from NationBuilder and automatically sync it over to Google Sheets or any other number of online spreadsheets. And so if you're using something like FieldEdge to Canvas, whether using NationBuilder's inbuilt log contact feature, and you're contacting people, those contacts and the notes associated with them are going to automatically end up in your spreadsheet as they happen. Now, to do this, we're going to use Zapier. So this video does assume that you have some knowledge of Zapier. Ideally, you've used Zapier before, but I'm going to walk you through the steps that it takes to set this up. One by one, we'll go through the steps, and hopefully you'll be able to set up the same thing for yourself. So firstly, what I've done is created a spreadsheet in Google Sheets, and you'll see across the top we've got some different headings for the different data points that we are collecting. So we've got the contact ID. This is the ID of the specific instance that this person was contacted. This is really just sort of metadata that we don't necessarily need, but it may be useful in the future, and it's good just to have it there. Now, we've also got the contacted at, where we've got the date and time, and you can go ahead and format that if you'd like. You can do that in Zapier, you can do it in Google Sheets. We've also got the NationBuilder user, and we've put the ID here. So this is the ID of the NationBuilder user who made the contact, who reached out to the person, had the conversation, right? And we've just got the ID in there, but you'll see how you could actually go ahead and add more information about that user if you wanted. Then we've got the first name and the last name of the person that we're contacting. We've got a link to their record in NationBuilder if we want to open that up to get more information. We've got the status of the interaction, we've got the method of the interaction, and then we've also got the note associated with it. Okay, so you can go ahead and create a sheet like this, and just put your headings in. You can add new ones, you can change the names of these however you want. And then once you've done that, we're going to go over to Zapier. And so in Zapier, I've already got this Zap set up, and I'm just going to run through the different steps here. So the first one is our trigger here. And so you'll see that we're using the person updated in NationBuilder. So we'll just edit that. I'll come to the app and event just to show you. So we've got NationBuilder selected there, and we've got the trigger event set to person updated. Okay, so once you've set those things, you can go ahead and test it. And you'll see here in our test that I've done previously, it's pulled in all the details of that contact. Now, it hasn't got all the contact details, so just keep that in mind. It's only got an abbreviated version of it, which I'll explain later. All right, so the next step in this Zap is get the latest logged contact. And so for that step, we're going to choose the app and event. So we've got NationBuilder, and then we're using the find logged contact action, okay? And in order to get this working, we need to map one field here, which is the original ID. So this is the original ID from the first step where the person was updated, and then we're going to get any contact or the latest contact associated with that person based on their ID. Now, you may be thinking, well, if someone gets updated, that doesn't necessarily mean that they have been contacted, which is absolutely true. So what we do here is we add a filter. So using the filter tool, and we're setting that filter up so that the updated time on this person must match the updated time on the last contact. So that says to us that the reason this person was updated essentially was this log contact because it happened at that time, right? So what we're saying here is only continue if the updated at time, and then we've got this set to equals using the date and time conditional, and then we're setting the this criteria to the comparison to the step 2, the created at. So when was the contact created at? And this goes down to the millisecond, right? So they're going to match up perfectly. Let's just run that. You can see this zap would have continued because those two things were identical. All right, so now that we're only getting contacts when they are being updated because of the logged contact, we can move on to our next step. But before we do that, I will just mention that these 2 steps are going to run every time the contact is updated. So if you have a lot of activity in your nation where people are getting updated all the time, just keep in mind that due to the nature of this Zap and the way it works, and this really is the only way that it can work based on the NationBuilder functionality, that it can chew up additional zaps running these 2 steps over and over, not passing this filter, and so you use steps just here. But it's only 3 steps here, or maybe even 2 because it doesn't pass the filter, so you may not get, that doesn't count. So just keep that in mind that it can happen, but you know, the upside is obvious, right? So just keep that in mind that it can chew through your task quota each month. Now, let's move on to the next step after we've filtered out any updates that are not related to the logged contact. Now we're going to find the control panel user. And this step here is optional. And actually, in fact, based on this, I wouldn't need it. So let me explain. When we get the contact, the logged contact here, and I'll just go to the text action, you'll see that it doesn't actually return anyone's name or any of their details here, right? But we do have the personal ID, which is the person receiving the contact, and the author ID. Now, the author ID is the person who is the person making the contact, right? So that is the user who's logged into NationBuilder or FieldEdge or whatever other app you're using, and is logging the contact. Now, if we wanted to, we could, if we were to add a field here that said NB user first name, NB user last name, NB user email address, we could use this step here to get those details. So what I'm doing here is setting up an action of, let me go back up here, of return person. So this is where we already know the ID of that person. And so we use the return person. We're not using a search or a match function. We're using the return feature. And let me go to the setup again. And you'll see here we're mapping the author ID to the person ID. Okay? And that way we can actually fetch the details. So when this runs, you'll see it's going to return all the details about the control panel user, right? So for example, we've got their first name, last name, and email. So we've got email, where is it? Email 1, no underscore. So we've got all those details there and anything else we could ever want about them. And so what I'll do is I'm going to close that. And now what we want to do is actually add another step here, which is to get the details of the person whom was actually contacted. So let me go and add another step here. And I'm going to search for NationBuilder. So this is good just to run you through sort of how to do this. We're going to look for return person again. So we're going to go return person, and we're going to go continue, and we're going to select our nation, and here it's going to ask for the person ID. So in this case, We're going to use it from the first step, and we're going to search for ID, and we're going to use the original ID, again from step 1, the person that was updated. So let's go continue here, and let's do a test and review. And you can see it has returned that person. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this now. And then I'm going to go to the final step in our Zap here. And I'm going to just show you what I've got here. I've got Google Sheets. And again, we can swap this out for any other Zapier supported spreadsheet tool. We could use Airtable. We could use Excel. We could use Zoho Sheets. Whatever we want to use there, we can swap that in. And then we're using the event, in this case, create spreadsheet row. So that's pretty straightforward. And then what we want to do here is come in here and what we want to do is we want to map out those different fields. And again, there's something I sort of forgot to clarify here. There is a difference. I mentioned this earlier. There's a difference between the information that you get here and the information that you get here, right? So I'm just going to edit this quickly just for clarity's sake. I'm going to say get full contacts information, okay? I'm just going to call it that for clarity, and you'll see why. When we get this person updated, we're getting an abbreviated resource here. And what that really means is it's a shortened version of that person's profile. So it doesn't have all the fields. Now, it does actually have all the key fields that we need for our spreadsheet as we've currently got it. But if we wanted to add some additional information, we would in fact need this step here, get the full contacts information. And so when we run this, you'll see this is a lot longer here, right? So if we wanted to get address, for example, the primary address, details, whether it's address 1, 2, city, etc., then we would need this. If we wanted birth date, as an example, if we wanted something like tags, I think is included in the abbreviated version. But there's a lot of other things like availability, donations, whatever you might need in your spreadsheet. That's what this step is for. So again, it's not strictly needed for the basic information like first name, last name, and link to the contact. But it is needed if you want to add other stuff. So let me go back to this action, which I've already got set up here. And I've mapped in my spreadsheet, I've set my worksheet, and then I've gone ahead and mapped the different details from the various parts of this automation, right? So we've got our contact ID, which is from the second step. If I scroll down here, you'll see we've got the status, the method, and the note from step 2, which is our get latest logged contact, right? We've got some information from step 1. So if we just needed the first name or last name, we can map that in using step 1. If we wanted some of that more detailed information that we don't get from step 1, I can map something in from step 5 here. For example, say we wanted party, we could map that in there from step 5. I've personally, the way I've set this up is to hard code in the link to our nation. So you would replace that with your slug here if you want to do it. So just copy this exact thing, and then you map in the person ID here. That creates the link that will then open that person in NationBuilder. So once that's all done, we've got that mapped. We can click continue, and our Zap is then ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this Zap on. I'm going to go over to NationBuilder, log some contact, and then come and check inside of our sheet here and check that it's been added. So I'm going to come over to NationBuilder. I'm going to go to this same person's profile. I'm going to go to logged contact. I'm going to say, this time I'm just going to say this is just a test. I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to set our door knock to method because in theory we're using FieldEdge to contact this person. And I'm going to set it to answered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here. I'm going to click Josh Howard was contacted. And then I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my spreadsheet and see what we found. And bam, we've got our contact here. We can see it's added the date, the person we contacted, it's got the status, the method, and the note here. So from now on, every time a contact is made to someone in your nation, that information is going to automatically make its way into Google Sheets or the spreadsheet of your choice using the magic of Zapier. All right, hopefully you found that helpful, and good luck putting it together.